I'm a little rusty on it.
I'll hum it for you.
All right, there we go. How is everyone doing? It's Thursday, April 27th, 2023. Oh yeah. I wanted to open this. I guess I don't need to open that. This will work. How's everyone doing? All right, let's do the intro really quick. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be watching this. My name is Josh, and welcome to my channel. On here, we talk news, we talk politics, we talk current events. I talk quickly when I'm trying to do like 3 different things because I forgot to do them before the start of stream. And yeah. Oh, that's not supposed to be over there. Oh, there we go. All right. So, a few things going on, a bunch of stuff going on, I guess. Yeah, got some stuff we're just gonna chit chat about. Not as long of a stream today. Just got stuff going on in the evening actually that I kind of forgot about. But we are here. We are doing the thing. I am posting stuff again. You know, I don't have a producer, folks, so bear with me for a moment while I copy stuff. While I wait, or while you wait, I should say. Let me know. Sure. Hit me with it. Hit me with your best one, Issa. Let's see, do that, and then do that, and then this, and then this, and then come over here, and I do this, and so I can actually see chat. All right, that's working. Cool. Oh yeah. Hey, girl, were you forged in the Asgardian furnace of passion? Because oh no, the Asgardian furnace of passion. Okay, let's organize this because thy face is not worth sunburning. That's good. That's a good one. Should use that. You know, you might run into a woman that doesn't get it, but that's their fault. That is 100% their fault. That's a good one. I always like pickup lines. So there's something I feel like there's like a culture that we lost from people ruining pickup lines. You know, pickup lines are good ways to kind of like break the ice and accentuate some of your personality. It's always good to be funny. You know, even if you're corny, being corny is good. You know, always good to be corny and funny around the ladies. Always pays off. But okay, on to the schedule for today. Pickup artists are cringe. And this is the reason why. Because like focusing on courting women, like having your entire personality, and for those guys it's like their career as being like picking up and like talking to women and stuff like that. That's very cringe and not very helpful, I find, because it's like trying to get advice to play like a sport a little bit better from like, you know what it's like, it would be like you getting advice on how to play baseball better from people who play fantasy baseball. That's what it's like. Yes, is there some kind of you know, maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Mathematical knowledge? Sure. But is that going to make you better at hitting the ball or strategizing or anything? No. It's mostly all analytical, and it's mostly all you know, you're always observing something from you know, not as like the next opportunity. You're always analyzing the last opportunity. You have your mind on the past, I feel like. Fantasy baseball is when okay, so there's fantasy baseball, and I'm sure you've heard of fantasy football. It's when nerds who watch sports get together and they pick players from they basically draft their own like pretend roster of players within a given sport, whether it be the NFL, MLB. And throughout the weeks, they all keep track of each individual players, regardless of what team they're on, because you can pick people from different teams and stuff. Why do you need to go through this way? Do you need to go down? How about you not go down? No, no? What are you doing? Stop. Go through that window. Do not land on the screen. Why are you like this, cat? Why? Anyway, sorry. My window's like right here, and my cat wants to basically just stomp all over my my monitor, which will lower it and mess up the thing. Anyway, so essentially you get you draft a fake roster that is made up of players from all sorts of different teams, and all these people come together usually like once a week, or they do it. I think there's like apps you can do it now, and you track those individual players' performance and kind of tally that up to make your own fantasy league, your own pretend league. So as if they perform the exact same way, but they performed on your hypothetical pretend team. It's role playing for fucking like sports fans, basically. And like, in that way, it's, if you're good at fantasy baseball, if you're good at fantasy football, if you're good at like knowing who good players are, and among other like technical features, you can be good at like kind of predicting the sport or analyzing the sport, but you're not really good at playing. It doesn't make you good at playing baseball. The same way I think pickup artistry doesn't make you good at dating women. It makes you good at maybe some, and even this I think is marginal, since you can't really objectively quantify people the same way you can sports statistics, but you get, I guess, some, a lot of pickup artist guys rely on a lot of, I think, data that's kind of tangential to their point a lot of the times. There's like the what is it, 20% of men are sleeping with 80% of the women. That's like an incel thing, but they use this kind of funny math to justify a lot of their positions and a lot of their rhetoric and stuff like that. But pickup artistry overall, not a big fan. Not a big fan at all. And speaking of things I'm not a big fan of, Tucker Carlson. So if you saw the news just a couple days ago, Tucker Carlson out of Fox News. The primetime host of Tucker Carlson Tonight was let go on I believe it was like Sunday, late Sunday, or I'm assuming it was Sunday at some point. Was fired from Fox News, and now his spot is being taken up by a rotating, kind of cast of characters from the Fox network. But we haven't gotten any, we haven't heard where he's going to end up. We don't know where he's going to land. But it seems like Tucker Carlson has broken his silence. So I want to take a look and see what the hell, what he's up to. The big question on everybody's mind, I think, is generally, where is he going to end up? When you go from the prime time, a prime time slot on the biggest cable news network, the question becomes, you get fired from that. Where do you go from there? Some think he might go to Rumble, start his own show there, which is a possibility. I certainly think if he's given enough money and funding, I can see him doing that. There's been some arguments, some people, I think Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks has forwarded the idea that he's going to run for president. I'm less convinced on that. I don't think somebody like Tucker wants to run for president. Running for president is A, expensive, but B, quite frankly, a lot harder than complaining about the news or complaining about Democrats or really reporting on the news. In this case, you have to make decisions and live with a lot of consequences. So I don't foresee that. My prediction, I think, that I made was he ends up in some form or fashion on the Daily Wire. I just think they're the only outfit that could really pay him enough to have a show and have a, while not comparable to Fox News, they certainly have a platform, and they have a large, well-funded platform more than others. I think they were offering what, Steven Crowder 50 million a year, I believe was the number. I could be wrong about that. So Tucker Carlson is they're willing to break out the big checkbook book. So, if Tucker wants to hold on to a semblance of an audience, wants to hold on to a semblance of his voice in the in the body politic and the medium and in the media, he's going to need to go, in my opinion, to a large network, and TPUSA can't afford that. They're also rather small. PragerU, same deal, kind of on the smaller end. I'm sure he'll do videos for PragerU once at least. But my bet, I think I've hedged my bets for the most part. The more I think about it, the more I think Daily Wire is kind of the pick. But anyway, yeah, Tucker, all that said, has broken his silence. So let's take a listen here. But honestly, I probably should though. Have you ever met an incel without the attitude? One a stereotypical one? I don't think I've ever met an incel. To my knowledge, I've never met an incel. Never met an incel. Oh yeah, okay. You should watch the news. The news is important. There's a certain amount of you just kind of got to be discerning about what you watch, I find. Not all news presenters, I should say, are created equal, unfortunately. There's just there are biases that will motivate certain news anchors, people who talk about the news, like myself. There are just biases that are always going to bear down on people. Anyway, so let's see it. What do you got, Tucker?
Evening, it's Tucker Carlson.
Christ above this, so fucking loud. Why is this so loud? Why is this so, man, oh, how the mighty have fallen. This fucking audio is trash too.
One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me.
I love how Tucker says this, and Tucker's a guy who is pushing a lot of the CRT stuff. Which, do you even hear about CRT anymore? No, you don't. There's a reason for that.
Participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all.
Which are?
Civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change.
War, civil liberty. He does realize that those are incredibly broad topics. Like war, civil liberties, that encompasses so many different topics. That's okay.
Corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted.
Well, we do kind of have those like every single day.
Political parties.
Like literally every single day we have to have a conversation about civil liberties because there are states in the country who are cracking down on the rights of LGBT people, specifically trans people. So yeah, we talk about this all the time, Tucker. What are you talking about? War? There's a war in Ukraine that we constantly have to talk about. What was the other one he said? Science? I'm trying to think. When's the last science? What's the last big science one we talked about? I guess Elon's jet exploding? That's kind of sciencey, right?
And their donors.
Guess that's more maybe
have
engineering.
Reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's
yeah.
a depressing realization.
It's corporate control.
Not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this.
God damn, this guy really is kind of like
aggressive.
the dumb fascist. because keep in mind, this is one of those hallmarks of fascism that you know, the opposition is at once incredibly strong and incredibly weak. It's always the shifting power level of your opposition. It's a characteristic of fascist ideology. Were you ever unsupportive of trans people? Oh, I'm sure I was. When I was probably younger, and when trans people, for me growing up, you know, trans people for a long time have been pretty much like punching bags. They've been the punchline to jokes. Go watch honestly a lot of movies from the you know, 90s and even the 2000s. You would see a lot of you know, transgender people being kind of like the butt of jokes. And I remember, you know, in like the I think it was The Hangover like 2, you know, they go to Thailand and there's like a trans woman, and there's a whole scene about that. And the joke of a lot of these jokes of people who are you know, in some process of transitioning is always the joke is always, haha, you thought this person was a woman but they actually have a dick. There's, you know, I have no doubt that I probably held some of those beliefs before, or at the very least didn't really think too much twice about it. Like, it was funny, it was shocking, but you know, as time moves on, you kind of learn that they're just different people, you know. But yeah, I mean, our culture has not been incredibly supportive of trans people for a really long time.
Giving up persuasion, they're resorting to force. But it won't work. When
Yeah, I mean, it's
people say
when you
what's
don't know.
true,
This is
calmly
why
and without embarrassment,
representation
they become
really matters.
powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left.
Right here on this stream.
And that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
So, okay, that didn't give us like literally anything. Well, that's unfortunate, but you know, goblin fetus discovered in old warehouse, claims local. Oh my god, that's terrifying. This is also New York Post. I don't know how much I want to read into that. What the jokesters were talking about the whole, there are 1,000 different genders now. Yeah, like that's always, yeah, the I identify as a attack helicopter stuff was always really dumb, and it was always it always came from a misunderstanding of the argument from trans people. It's also why you see a lot of, in the anti-trans rhetoric, you see a lot of people assert that trans people or advocates of trans identity will say that oh, you think you can change your biology, or you can change your sex or whatever, and all of it's a misunderstanding. It's a purposeful, but it is a purposeful misunderstanding and misframing of people's actual positions. There is not too many people that I know that would argue that, you know, to transition your gender to the opposite gender has almost nothing to do with your biology. There are some biological changes due to you taking the opposite sex's hormones, but that doesn't really change that you're still that, you know, you were assigned male at birth, basically. So it you know, it's always a bit dishonest, I find. But you know, a transporter called something identify as insert helicopter type here. I'm trying to turn that joke on its head. I wish I knew what it was called. That sounds funny. Good for them. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna like move through some of these. All right. So that wasn't really a lot for that one. You know, Tucker we'll see where he ends up. He will end up somewhere. Okay. I want to take a look because I kind of stumbled. Oh, I need to find Lance's thing. I stumbled on this last stream on the Crowder stuff, because I guess he got divorced, which yep, that's a thing that happened. I can't say I feel super bad for him. But I like kind of stumbled on it without really knowing the whole backstory or seeing all of it. So I want to look at the video that Lance from the Surfs put out to kind of get a recap, and then we'll go over the new news that has come out. That sound good? Does that sound good? Now, okay, so I kind of thought about this, where the question kind of always needs to be asked of like, well, why are we covering this? Why is Steven Crowder's divorce relevant to literally any of us? And at first, I thought about not covering it because I thought, it's one guy's divorce. What do I really, do I really care that much about Steven Crowder as a person? No, I don't. I think he's a piece of shit. But why do we care? We mainly care because Steven Crowder controls an incredibly large and incredibly vocal, or I should say, a powerful platform. He disseminates his rhetoric and propaganda and everything else through his platform, and some of the justifications of how he comes to some of the positions, and it kind of gives us a lens to explain where some of that rhetoric comes from. A big part of that is his opinion on no-fault divorces. No-fault divorces in the United States have been an institution since, oh God, I want to say since like maybe the 1970s. Let's take a look. I actually don't know. No fault. Fuck. Divorce. United. Whoops, that's not how you spell United States. United States? Let's see. No fault divorces, the dissolution of marriage. Yeah, I know that. Europe. I want the United States. Here we go. The United States. Today, every state plus the District of Columbia permits no fault divorce. Let's see. Though the requirements to obtain no fault divorce vary, California was the first U.S. state to enact a no-fault divorce. The law was signed into law by Governor Ronald Reagan. Divorced, remarried former movie actor, and came into effect in 1970. New York was the last state to enact. Wow, that's actually kind of crazy. Look at that. Liberal New York is the last one. Before, Can I? Okay, cool. Can I get at fault? No fault. Can I get a year? 2009 for a no-fault divorce to be granted. Oh, no, that's not. Okay, so what year can I? Is it really not like a year? Let's see. A divorce and remarried. New York was the last state. So New York was the last state to do so in 2010. So this has been kind of a project, it seems like, over. Okay, so we don't have a national one. I wasn't sure if we had a national law or if we have national standards. But it seems like since 1970, they've been moving through the courts. So what is that, like 40 years? So over the course of 40 years, we've pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for? Person seeking divorce is not permitted to allege a fault, abuse. Oh, okay, got it. So yeah, over the last 40 years, we've kind of moved the country from state by state on no fault divorces. Cool. But anyway, so Steven Crowder, not a fan of no fault divorce, not a fan at all. And through his current divorce and all of his hard times that he's going through right now, we can kind of observe the mindset and the biases of somebody who holds that position, and kind of very easily, I think, look at the consequences of that, of holding that position. I think there is value to us looking at somebody who's advocated against a freedom that people have and being the victim of that freedom. The same way how it's valuable to hear from victims of gun violence when we talk about gun violence. It's I think it's very valuable to talk to the people who are victims of this or that right that we have in this country. I support the right for no fault divorce. I support the right for any kind of divorce. If you don't want to be with somebody, I think That's not the state's role to force you into that union. But Steven Crowder thinks the opposite. So through that lens, we will observe. Oh, also, fuck, I mentioned gun violence, and I forgot to check in with how many people have fallen to gun violence yesterday. Let's take a look. Let me do that really quickly. I totally forgot to do that. Jesus Christ. All right. Have you ever met a black person who's racist towards white people? Yeah, absolutely. There are quite a few out there. Racism is not a white phenomena, unfortunately. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Whoa, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Oh my God. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 51. Oh shit, I went over. Okay, 51, fuck. Minus 3. How far back? Fuck, how far did I count without looking at the dates? There it is. Minus, what did I say? I got up to 53. 50, 49, 48, 46, 47, 45. God, I'm bad at counting backwards. Okay, 45 injured. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. All right, 18 deaths. What did I say? 45 injuries due to gun violence in just 24 hours yesterday. So always keep remembering that. Anyway, back to where I was at. Steven Crowder. Let's get into it. Let's see. Where's the big compilation? Oh, here it is. Here it is. All right, let's take a look. Have you remember? Oh, I already answered that. Really? What were they like? Did they say anything about paleness? No, they were just kind of mean about the, like, it was mostly just people who, and let's be clear here, these were people who had really, really bad experiences with white people. I'm originally from Virginia. Virginia is technically a southern state. I think it's like it's the northernmost southern state when we talk about, like, when we draw like the Mason-Dixon line or whatever. But even in Virginia, you will absolutely meet people who are victims of deep racism in the South. And because of those experiences, there are black people who are racist against white people. It is a reaction to the racism that they themselves were victims of. But either way, they were still very racist against white people. They were still very discriminatory towards white people. The only reason why, we don't really focus on that as much is mainly because it's a reaction to a much more powerful group, especially in America, that bears down on the black community here in the United States. But it can happen. There are people of every race. Anybody can be racist. Racism is not as I said earlier, a uniquely white thing. It's simply in the United States. There is a power dynamic tied to white racism that amplifies its ability to cause harm, basically. The same way how in Israel, right? There are Jews in Israel who are very racist against Muslim people, against Middle Eastern people. and they are like that because of kind of the experiences they've had and everything else. The region has a lot of turmoil in it. I'm not the biggest historian when it comes to Middle Eastern history, but point being, they're also racist. It's not like a white people thing. But Israelis in this case are the powerful group, and it's why there's so much focus, at least from the left, not necessarily from broad society, on the actions of the Israeli government, of especially their military forces. Probably, yeah. Specifically, their racism is angled toward the specific ethnic group of Palestinians, but they have a general, from what I understand, a general dislike for Muslims in general. It's just kind of a clash in the region because of the nature of kind of the regional politics there. Anyway, again, I'm not like a big foreign policy or even I don't have the deepest knowledge, so there are other people I would say you can go and watch that probably have a deeper knowledge base than me, but generally that's what I tend to notice, or at least that's what I've been able to observe. Anyway, Crowder, let's get a recap real quick.
Familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well.
Yes.
Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Oh, my children have a right to privacy.
He even sent me a retrospectively very flirty message thereafter on Instagram about how nice I looked on election night, even though I didn't respond to it. Found Hillary Crowder's Instagram account, and I looked to see, and it turned out that she didn't follow Steven Crowder, and that Steven Crowder didn't follow her. He didn't follow anybody in her family.
Bro, what is this fucking Beetlejuice looking ass jacket?
And she wasn't following anybody in his family. That was my aha moment. Clearly, there was some sort of a separation. Now, I will not take that lightly, okay? I am not Hillary Crowder. I am not anybody in his family. I am not going to take somebody going onto his platform and alleging that I either harassed, threatened, or did anything that would put his children at risk. That is very serious stuff that he is saying. And so what I did this morning after this clip was sent to me is I contacted a defamation lawyer, and I am sending Steven Crowder and I'm going to demand
these guys like immediately
a full-throated retraction to the idea that Candace Owens
legal,
threatened him or extorted him. And it seems to me, Steven, that you really, for whatever reason, want to insert me into this narrative. Like, there is just something about me that you are hyper-focused on. And so I want to help you a bit. And really, I want to help your wife, because you essentially just used your platform. Millions of people have access to your platform. She doesn't have the same, to insult her. You picked the wrong woman, okay? So here's what I would like to do. I would like to invite Hillary Crowder onto my platform, because she doesn't have one. And because her ex-husband apparently used his to insult her.
True.
Say that he picked the wrong woman. I find that to be really despicable. So Hillary Crowder, if you are watching, you are more than welcome to come on my show.
Damn. Can you hug asexuals? With consent, yes. With the person's consent, you can hug almost anybody, unless they're spiky. Let's see. Oh man, I swear, man, she's going for the fucking neck on this one. Okay, anyway, so let's take a look. So apparently, some Substack guy got footage from Steven Crowder's house. Hillary Crowder's family says she did. Jeez. Embrace them. I feel like. Wait, embrace? Embrace? I see what you did. That's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. That took me a good minute to get. That's a good one. Hold on to that one. Hold on to that one. That's a good one. What do we got? Okay. Oh boy. Should we watch this first? Oh, this is from okay, this is like those like camera setups. Wow. This is a small yard. You would think he'd have a bigger yard. Okay, let's do the article first. What in the world? Your computer's running low on storage space. Visit storage. Oh, okay. Be sure to do that afterwards. Conservative media host and commentator Steven Crowder can be seen on a Ring. What is it to see that you're a part of my demographic? Wait, maybe I don't know that one. I might be too stupid to know that one. Do I know that? No, shit, I feel stupid. I don't know if I get that one. I don't know anything about keys or what locksmithing? I don't know anything about locksmithing. Fuck. Which one's demisexual? God, there's so many. I'm so boring, you know, as a very boring like heterosexual person. Whenever I hear of these new ones, I'm always like, wait, there's another one? You know, but you know, let people enjoy what they enjoy. It's my whole thing. Anyway, where was I? Conservative media host and commentator Steven Crowder can be seen on a Ring camera video berating his wife Hillary, who was at the time nearly 8 months pregnant, and demanding that she handle medicine for his dogs that she was concerned was toxic to pregnant women. In the video, he snaps at her to put on her gloves to give his dogs medicine, walk the dogs, and otherwise, quote, perform wifely duties, unquote, as she clearly emotionally, as she is, jeez. You know, is it that shocking? What did I say? I think I said it. I'm pretty sure I said it. I should go back and look, but I'm pretty sure. I am pretty sure I said countdown to us finding out Crowder beats his wife. And I gotta say, we are speed running this. Towards the end of the exchange, Hillary Crowder says to her husband, "Your abuse is sick." Snaps at her, "Watch it, fucking watch it." Moments later, off camera, Crowder, by his admission, would lose control and scream at his pregnant wife in a threatening tone. "I will fuck you up." Oh yeah, he definitely. Yep. Which led to his wife to flee their home. In a statement sent to me by Hillary Crowder's family, they say that she spent years hiding her husband's mental and emotional abuse from her family, that he lied about the circumstances around their divorce. Whoa, stop it. And that he wasn't present for the birth of their children. Wow. Documentary evidence I reviewed while reporting this story backs up their assertions. The statement in its entirety is printed later on in the story. The Ring camera footage documenting the moments leading up to the moment where Steven said, "I will fuck you up," something that was at the pinnacle of aggressiveness in their marriage, but was also part of a pattern of emotional abuse, is posted in full at the top of the post and detailed later above. Okay, so as far as we know so far, he didn't actually physically abuse her. Although, let's be honest here. If he's already doing all of this, all of the yelling and screaming and everything else, I still hedge my bets that there's at least, you know, the idea that you only stop at yelling at your partner. If you're already comfortable, I feel like with a lot of this kind of emotional abuse, I don't find it to be hard to think that you would resort to physical abuse. Neither Hillary nor Steven Crowder is contending that there was physical abuse in their marriage or sexual infidelity. And in audio files and text messages I reviewed, Steven Crowder admits to some of his faults, which include a volcanic temper, repeatedly and at times regretfully. People who aren't attracted to people until they first also know you're not born, until they fall in love, and then also know you are not born. Yeah, like let's see. But I appreciate that. But according to sources I spoke to with the family and their friends, Steven Crowder's admission often came after a sustained period of mental and emotional abuse, and he didn't seem to be able to control his impulses. This story is based on conversations with multiple sources, none of whom would speak to me unless they were granted anonymity. I also reviewed text messages, extensive audio files, and personal videos documenting the Crowders' marriage. Hillary Crowder was not available for comment or a conversation with me on more confidential terms. 2 messages sent to Steven Crowder via his website requesting comment have yet to be replied to by the time this story was published. If he does reply or comment publicly about the details posted here, this story will be updated accordingly. The Crowders were married in 2012 after dating for 2 years and being engaged for less than a year. Hillary filed for divorce in December of 2021 after she learned that her husband had hired a divorce attorney a month earlier. Hillary Crowder welcomed twins via C-section in August of 2021. Despite her best efforts, her husband was absent when their twins were born. Instead, he met their newborn twins later that day at the hospital. The night before she gave birth, Stephen and Hillary exchanged a series of text messages about separating. Hillary sent her husband one of the final text messages. "Stephen, I'm afraid of you and your rage. You are scary. You scare me. I want to heal things, but you have to take responsibility. Stop blaming others. Stop feeling pain and sadness. Stop feeling pain and sadness only for yourself." In the past 2 weeks, rumors of their divorce, which the press had not discovered for over a year, began to spread on Twitter. On Tuesday, Stephen Crowder briefly spoke about the news in his popular show, Louder with Crowder. Quote, "I've been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now. Since 2021, I have been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. And no, this has not been my choice. My then wife decided she didn't want to be married anymore, and in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted." Oh yeah, okay. So keep in mind. This is what she means when she says. So she says right up here, right? What is it? I want to heal things, but you have to take responsibility. Stop blaming others. Stop feeling pain and sadness only for yourself. This is emblematic of that. The state of Texas that is completely permitted, meaning Stephen Crowder is playing the victim. Stephen Crowder admits to emotional and verbal abuse of his wife. And we're going to watch the video, and I've seen a little bit of it, and it was already pretty yikesy. But keep in mind, he goes on his platform of millions of people, to then whine and complain that the state of Texas is not going to force his wife to stay with him. The future that Stephen Crowder wants for Texas is a world where Stephen Crowder's wife can live terrified of her husband and offered no legal recourse to get away from him. This is the future he wants for verbally abused wives, physically abused wives, sexually abused wives. Keep in mind, this is emblematic of what she means, that he only feels pain and sadness only for himself. In Stephen Crowder's mind, he is the one who is being put upon here. He is the one who's being hurt by all of this, instead of paying the consequences of the hurt that he himself has created and has copped to. She simply wanted out, and the law says that is how it works. If it's no one else's fault but my own, in that I picked wrong, and that certainly isn't the fault of my children. Which is really funny. We watched the video earlier of him talking about this. I think it was last stream, but he always talks about the fault of my children. Crowder, Stephen, my dude, nobody. I'm not doing it. There isn't a leftist. There isn't anybody on Twitter, online, who thinks this is your children's fault. We all think the same thing, and we all know the same thing, that it's your fault. So stop bringing up your children. You can just stop it there. Nobody's talking about your kids. Your kids are hardly old enough to go to school, I think. Crowder bemoaned Texas's no-fault divorce law several times in his statement. No-fault divorce laws allow either party in a marriage to get divorced without requiring a cause like abuse or infidelity. It wasn't the first time Crowder had talked about his disgust for such laws. What Crowder didn't mention was that his very private wife, who hardly appears at public events and is rarely photographed, had made a request via her attorneys that her husband not discuss their divorce at all. Stephen Crowder dismissed that request and spoke about the divorce and their marriage for about 5 minutes in a clip that went viral. In the statement sent to me via email, Hillary Crowder's family said Hillary is currently living alone in Dallas, apart from her family and support system in Michigan, and is focused on taking care of her young children. She is not prepared at this time to speak about her divorce becoming public or the misleading statements made by Stephen about their relationship. Jeez. I really feel, let me just say, I do really feel for this person. Because quite frankly, they didn't want any part of this. It's rather clear if they don't show up in public, if they're rarely photographed, it's very clear that they're a pretty private person who doesn't want to get involved in a lot of this online public bullshit. And now Crowder has taken it upon himself to pretty much villainize this woman to his entire audience of millions, by the way. And make her, let's be honest, probably the target for a lot of people. There are going to be a lot of people online waiting for her to just poke her, just dip her toe out into the public realm, and they will fucking dogpile her. I feel really sorry for her in this case. That's real, she married Steven Crowder. I am sure I have some questions about how you come to that decision, but you know what? This person is a private individual, and if they have whatever relationships they have with whoever they have, it's not my business about who they marry. Whether even if I find Crowder to be a deplorable human being, it seems like she kind of found that out to the hard way, unfortunately. So the truth is that Hillary spent years hiding Steven's mentally and emotionally abusive behavior from her friends and family while she attempted to save their marriage. She was the one who was asking to work on their relationship to keep the marriage intact for their unborn children. In June of 2021, Steven left their home to pursue elective surgery. Hillary urged him to get the help he needed to address his abuse, with the hope that their marriage could be saved and they could peacefully live together as a family. Instead, Steven refused to do so and chose not to be with his wife during the birth of their twin children. After the birth, Steven bought a townhouse and left their home permanently. Hillary was unaware that Steven had hired a divorce attorney and asked his assistant to cut Hillary off financially. There is significant documentation substantiating these facts. We hope that Steven will cease speaking publicly about these personal matters in an untruthful manner. We also look forward to there being full transparency in the legal process, so there is fairness and accountability for the actions that caused the divorce, and to ensure the outcome is what is best in the best interest of the young children. Get a job, don't hog all the welfare. What is this? I think I remember this person. You do know I have a job, right? You do? Okay, whatever. Okay, whatever. What is this? Something? I don't care. In the Ring camera video, which was captured on June 26, 2021, Steven Crowder is angry as he sits on the patio smoking. And Hillary Crowder is in a state of motion as she prepares to leave the house. Steven Crowder insists that Hillary not take their one car to run errands, as it would keep him housebound, and that she, at nearly 8 months pregnant, should take an Uber. Why would you take an Uber if you're... Okay. Also, you have one car? You live in Texas and you have one fucking car? Crazy, dude. He also berates her for not doing her wifely dude, Christ, like grocery shopping in a way that pleases him. Tensions rise as Steven Crowder... Can I ask? Like, all of the conservative Republican, like, young guys out there, does this sound reasonable to you? Where you berate your partner for not doing wifely duties? Do you really think that's going to work for you? Like, I don't know, man. People got weird ideas about what they think's gonna pan out for them. He also attention. Feeling some constraint. Crowder said to his wife. Crowder gets irritated and says that if Hillary is his very pregnant wife takes the car, he can't go to the gym, see his parents, or see his friends. God forbid. Doesn't she just have to run errands and go grocery shopping? The only way out of this is discipline and respect. Discipline. Jesus Christ. Hillary Crowder, in an attempt to leave, tells her husband that she loves him and that she's committed to their marriage. Steven Crowder gets angry and suggests that she is committed to their marriage. Gets angry, that if she is committed to their marriage, she should put on gloves and give his dogs the medicine that his wife was concerned was toxic for pregnant women, and walk their dogs. As they headed inside, Crowder got angrier and angrier and was, by his permission, via audio I reviewed, yelling angry and said, "I will fuck you up," according to both Crowders. Stephen immediately pulled back and realized what he said, but by that point, Hillary was frightened and left the house. In review of the audio, video, and text messages, Stephen Crowder repeatedly admits that he has a volcanic temper and that he has been working through therapy to control it. However, at one point in one of the audio files I reviewed, Stephen Crowder gets upset because he is frustrated that he is not getting enough credit for not having lost his temper for months, but adds that he can't promise he won't lose it again in the future. Two people who worked for Stephen in the past say that he has created a cult-like atmosphere in the workplace and is intolerant of dissent. You're either fully with him or you're his enemy, one former employee told me in a conversation on Wednesday. In an interview on Michael Malice's podcast, Dave Landau, who used to be a co-host on Louder with Crowder, said that Crowder had surrounded himself with, quote, yes men. Landau added about Crowder, he's become a bully and he doesn't realize it. Crowder's career in mainstream conservative media started at Fox News in 2009, where he appeared as a guest on programs and wrote for Fox News' website until he was let go from the network in 2013. His show Louder with Crowder aired on CRTV and later The Blaze from 2017 through the end of his contract in 2022. Crowder's media footprint is substantial. On YouTube, his two channels have over 7 million subscribers and has garnered 2.2 billion views. In addition, he has millions of followers across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. On the conservative online platform Rumble, Crowder has over 1 million followers. In March of 2023, Rumble announced that at least 58,000 people had subscribed to Crowder's channel, paying $89 a year. That would mean over $5.1 million for this particular revenue stream. And the number that Rumble shared were in the pre-launch phase. The numbers have likely grown since. It's this success and ideological alliance that led the Daily Wire, conservative media company, co-found. Okay, we already know this part. Okay. Let's see. Crowder was talking on the show about a distaste for no-fault divorce. Oh, here we go. In reviewing documentary evidence related to their marriage, Stephen Crowder appears obsessed with the idea that his wife is only interested in Sam Seder. In him for money. Hillary Crowder started dating him well before he became famous and wealthy. He was making less than $100,000 a year when they got married. True. On April 22nd, 2022, Crowder was talking on his show about his distaste for no-fault divorce. He said, quote, "If you're a woman that comes from meager means and you want to get wealthy, you've never worked, you didn't get a degree, you have no skill set, but you are good looking, your best path to victory is simply marry a man, leave him, and take half." By the time Crowder said this, it has been 5 months since he retained a divorce attorney by his audience, but his audience was unaware of this move. 6 months later, he would walk away from a $50 million opening offer from the Daily Wire. 4 months after the news, the Daily Wire offer became public in January of 23, and his public comments about the proposal led to the destruction of his relationship with Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring. The public would learn that a dispute with the Daily Wire was the least of Stephen Crowder's problems. Sheesh. Also, okay, let's talk about this really quickly. Let's talk about this. All right, so if you're a woman, which also, by the way, this goes for men too. So let's not pretend that this is a divorce is only ever initiated by women. There are men who initiate divorces. But regardless, if you're a woman that comes from meager means and you want to get wealthy, you've never worked, you didn't get a degree, you have no skill set, but you're good looking, your best path to victory is simply to marry a man, leave him, and take half. To which my answer to this is, well, we kind of have a process, we have a system of how to kind of adjudicate this. It is called a prenuptial agreement. If you are wealthy, if you are, if you're a Stephen Crowder kind of millionaire, right? And you are so concerned with the person that you have fallen in love with being interested in you only for your money, then get a prenup. That's it. We already have a tool to do this. If you don't do that, you have agreed to a contract that already that already divvies up a married couple's resources by half. So, what I am saying is either like fucking learn how prenups work. Like to me, this reads as a fucking skill issue. If you didn't know this, if you didn't already know that in a divorce, both people take half of the resources, then I'm sorry, you're a fucking idiot. Then I don't know what to tell you. You're a fucking idiot. We already have a process for this. If if the person that you fell in love with, if you don't trust them enough to what's the word? To love you outside of your money, then don't get married to them. If that's something that is so weighed you down, if that's something you're so worried about, then don't get married or get a prenup. And when that becomes an awkward conversation, you be an adult and you have an entire conversation and you have that conversation. But yeah, this is what we call a skill issue. When there is a solution to a problem, that you could possibly have, and you just refuse to use that solution. But anyway, let's take a look at this. God, this video is longer than I thought. Should I ban this vampire hunter person? I feel like I should, but I also find them to be kind of entertaining. What is this? Oh, is this some like MAGA chud? Cool. We'll just do like, here, I'll just do this. Just do that, and we'll just do that. I won't ban them though. I don't really, they don't really affect the stream enough for me to ban them. Just delete their messages.
I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There is no groceries. I do have
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first?
Imagine thinking it's unreasonable for you to go pick up the groceries while you have a pregnant wife. And also imagine that you're somebody who claims to be pro-life, claims to care about women, children, all the rest of this stuff. This is the activity of somebody who doesn't give a shit about women, doesn't give a shit about kids, doesn't give a shit about any of this, and is just interested in building a small little feudal empire within their home for them to lord over. That's all this really is.
How do you respect the man? Yeah. How do you man? How do you man receive love like that? No. How do you man? No, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
You're not taking the car.
Steven,
You are not.
then I
taking
will ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
As long as you got Steven.
Give it an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Why would you get an
You
Uber?
need some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now?
Some constraints. Yeah, it could be the fucking human being that the poor woman is lugging around. Could actually, what am I saying? Human being. It could be the two human beings that she's lugging around at the moment. Also, keep in mind, my dude's like smoking down here. I don't know if you can see this, but like, homeboy's like smoking down here. And it's like, don't you already know that smoking around pregnant women is like, can cause, what's the, developmental issues, you fucking idiot? God.
Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents.
God
I can't
forbid.
Call my friends.
God forbid.
I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here.
Why don't you just be home?
How boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it.
Wow, look how boxed in he is. He's got this really nice back porch with, a good boy. He's got a good boy right here. Maybe that's a good girl. I don't know. But knowing Steven Crowder, it's probably a male dog. So we got a good boy here. We got a pool, a fucking hot tub. Got some grass over here to do some yoga, chill the fuck out. Make a sandwich, go sit in the sun and eat a sandwich. What is this boxed in bullshit? Like, okay. Like, man, you look like you have it really rough there, Steven.
That doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
I
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Steven,
Everybody lives by every second. Not only that, but keep in mind, imagine you're arguing with somebody and you're like, hey, I need to use the car. And they were like, wait, but what if 5 minutes after you take the car, I decide I want to go over to my friend's house? What if I do that? What if I get bored here in the house on my own, $1 million house probably, and what if I want to go see my parents? What if I want to go work out? What if I want to do literally anything at any point? What am I supposed to do? God, Jesus, this is such honest to God, this isn't even like bad husbandry. This is baby human. That's what this is. This is how children operate. Because if you've ever worked or been around children, what happens? Do they get upset when, do they get more or do they get less upset when you reduce their options? They get more upset because they're like, what if I want to play this? Or what if I want to go outside and do that? Or what if I want to do this? The idea of their choices being reduced is like terrifying. It's awful. They can't think of, oh, what if I have to not do a thing that I want to do right now? It's so fucking childish.
The only way out of it is discipline and respect. It's the only
I
way
don't know
out
what
of
that
it.
means.
We're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline or respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up, Stephen.
Hillary,
Stephen?
you give up so easily.
I
I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Stephen, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Stephen, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it.
And
Fucking watch it.
Yeah, to this guy, to this strong man, an accusation is an insult. The accusation that his actions are harmful in and of itself is offensive to him. The idea that he could ever offend her is to him ridiculous. This is the same kind of attitude that people took for a really, really long time. There were decades ago in this country, it was legal. It was not something that the law recognized, that a husband raping his wife was not rape. There were decades ago in this country, that was not something that the law recognized, that the law was interesting in adjudicating. But here we are. This fucking traditionalist, family values guy. And it's the exact mindset that he holds. It's the exact kind of mindset that you wouldn't do what I say. That's why I'm going to abuse you now, because I need to teach you respect and.
Okay, what you need me to get, and I need some space. We need to just stop engaging for a little bit, okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D.
Wait, what did he just say?
I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem.
Jesus. You haven't earned my love. God, it's fucking disgusting.
I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, just be disciplined about it, you go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right. We're at an impasse. Become someone, listen to me, day in and day out, worthy of a wife, worthy. No.
And again, at the end of the day, Steven Crowder does not look at this person as somebody that he actually loves. He looks at this person as somebody that one day could earn his love. Now, will that ever happen? Probably not. I mean, certainly they're divorced now, so probably not going to happen. But keep in mind, his version of love is her bending to every whim he has, doing everything that he says, never challenging him. His version of love is an unequal relationship. Her version isn't. She still will tell him that she loves him, even as he spits this vile abuse at her. And the best thing he can do for her is You know, his strongest argument is, I ask you to do things. I tell you to do things, and you just don't do them. You don't listen to me. You disrespect me with your disloyalty. It's, oh, Christ, it's gross. It's gross. It's disgusting.
Not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not gonna.
And keep in mind, conservative guys out there, dumb fucks like Vampire Hunter D, dipshits like that. This is the kind of marriage that you have to look forward to. This is the kind of marriage. This is what you have to look forward to. When you view other people, the person who you are supposed to be closest to on this earth, as unequal, you are never going to get that unconditional love, which, by the way, doesn't actually exist, but you're never going to get that unconditional love that you certainly think does exist. Ever.
Engaged. I'm not gonna engage anymore. I'm gonna go. I'll get text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
Why would you smoke near a pregnant woman?
Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not gonna.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to you. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves.
I need to.
Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I,
Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm gonna just.
Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves.
That Fight Like Hell shirt is really emblematic, isn't it? Because this is how he approaches everything in life. His entire life is a battlefield. This is what happens when you live with deep insecurity.
Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take? No, you take that in.
This poor pup. This poor dog. Jesus Christ. Well, man, I gotta say, I feel deep sympathy for that woman. What she is going through is kind of what we see a lot of people go through, but you know, at the very least, this should be I think, learning. This should be a teachable moment for people. Look, this is what, you know, when people talk about, you know, when people venerate the progress that feminism has made over the last couple of years, these are the relationships, these are the situations that women have been able since, you know, since kind of the sexual revolution in the 60s and in the 70s. These are the kinds of advancements that women have been able to make, to be able to get out of marriages like that one that we just saw, to leave these, quite frankly, shitty men to fucking boil on their own instead of, quite frankly, instead of you know, spreading their you know, instead of spreading their hurt to others. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot other than that. It's, like I said, it's just gross. It's gross when you see that kind of stuff from people. You know, Steven Crowder talks a lot about being family values and caring about kids and everything else, but clearly doesn't care that much. You know, if this is how he treats his family, you know, his love looks a lot more like hate to me. But anyway, all right. So from kind of online drama stuff to some electoral politics. As of earlier, well, excuse me, today. Okay. As of earlier today, looks like we have new polling out from Fox News. You know, I'm okay with taking Fox News polling. I'm sure their questions are a little skewed, and obviously the people who are going to be filling this out are going to be a little bit less sympathetic to Biden, but it's data nonetheless. Actually, can I see the me see if I can find like the because usually 538 does some kind of Republican Party primary. I want to know Democratic Party primaries. Let's see. Let's see. Doesn't look like we have anything. Do Americans approve, disapprove Kamala Harris? Opinion on Trump? How popular is Biden? Republican primary. Okay. Doesn't look like we have President, General. Okay, doesn't look like we have anything. Anything on 538 right now. Okay, I was just kind of curious. But anyway, Trump up on DeSantis. RFK is 90% support against Biden. Let's take a look. New poll shows Donald Trump building a lead over Ron DeSantis among Republicans, while Robert F. Kennedy Jr. pulls almost 1 in 5 Democratic votes against incumbent President Joe Biden. Kennedy had 19% in the Fox News poll released Wednesday night, though far behind Biden at 62%. Another Democratic challenger, Marianne Williamson, recorded 9% in the survey. That's not too bad. So essentially, we're looking at 30% of the party. It's like, nah, no thanks for Biden. Biden's opponents, quote, are most successful in peeling away support among women and Gen Xers, keeping Biden in mid-50s among both groups. Keep in mind also, I am sure millennials are not super thrilled about Biden either. Oh, goodness gracious. Last week, USA Today Suffolk University poll put Kennedy at 14%, surpassing strength for a long shot candidate against the incumbent president. Biden announced his re-election bid this last week. Okay, DeSantis. Okay, cool. I just wanted to check in. I was just kind of curious. I don't really, when it comes to Biden, we'll kind of see how there's talk that we're really not going to get a primary, just because, they're not doing debates. So that's going to really, hinder those other candidates' ability to, garner an audience. But, unfortunately, unfortunately, that's just going to have to be one of those things that we're just going to have to wait and see how much momentum RFK Jr. or Marianne can pick up. But, so I saw this. Okay. Are people aware of who Emmett Till is? I'm assuming people are. It's a pretty common story. I'm assuming, at least we learned about Emmett Till in our history classes, but apparently, what is her name? The woman who accused Emmett Till of I think it was sexually assaulting her, wasn't it? Has died at 88. Carolyn Bryant Donham, man. Kind of want to read a little bit of this. Carolyn Bryant Donham, the white woman whose accusations led to the 1955 lynching of black teen Emmett Till in Mississippi, and whose role in the brutal death was reconsidered by a grand jury as recently as last year, has died in Louisiana. The Calcasieu Parish Coroner's Office confirmed to CNN. Donham, 88, died Tuesday in Westlake, according to a fact of death letter from the coroner. Malik Shabazz with Black Lawyers for Justice said in a statement Thursday that Donham's legacy, quote, will be one of dishonesty and injustice. Hello. Carolyn Bryant's death brings a conclusion to a painful chapter for the Emmett Till family and for black peoples in America. The tragic part about Bryant's death was that she was never held accountable for her role in the death of young Emmett Till, who is the martyr for the civil rights movement. In August of 1955, 14-year-old Emmett Till was beaten and shot to death after he allegedly whistled at Bryant, now Donham, in Money, Mississippi. Later, her husband, Roy Bryant, and J.W. Willem took Emmett from his bed and ordered him into the back of a pickup truck and beat him before shooting him in the head and tossing his body into the Tallahatchie River. They were both acquitted of murder by an all-white jury following the trial in which Carolyn Bryant testified that Emmett grabbed and verbally threatened her. Yeah, this is, I want to just give a warning. This is, we're going to watch this video. I don't know how graphic it's going to be, but yeah, this is if you've never heard it, a pretty gruesome story. Which, you know, a lot of times, I hear from people, not even people. So I had an ex who was American, but did not grow up in the United States. They grew up over in Europe. And, you know, after we met, we dated for a little bit. I remember them asking me or talking about kind of the prevalence of black protests in the United States compared to in Europe where she grew up. And a factor of it was, you know, when she would hear the outcries of black people in this country, she would, and you know, this was kind of something that I actually had to explain to her, upon, after being friends for a little bit. This was before we dated that we had this conversation, but she says to me, she's like, I don't get it. Like, what are black people in this country complaining about? Like, there aren't laws that discriminate against them. There's not this or that. Like, I don't get it. Like, you know, what's the, like, why are there always, there's always protesting from black people and all this stuff. And I found that really shocking because from an American context, you would kind of think if you didn't know, you'd think to yourself, yeah, like, why do we always have, why are these black organizations and black led protests always cropping up in the United States, and they don't really crop up anywhere else in the world the same way. To which I had to explain to her, like, the civil rights movement, the ability for African Americans to be seen, at least under the law, in the entire country as equals to white people, was not established until the 1960s, to which she was flabbergasted utterly. Because to her, she's like, wait, you're telling me that there are people alive right now who lived as second-class citizens with, if not, with not even the same amount of rights as their white counterparts? That wasn't hundreds of years ago. That was less than 100 years ago. And this was shocking to her, utterly shocking. Now, again, she grew up outside of the United States, so it's understandable. But there are people in this country who aren't aware of the history and for whatever reason can't seem to reckon with the idea that all of this stuff, that Emmett Till, this moment, is not even 100 years old. There are people who are still alive, who remember this, who lived through it, who are victims of acts like this. So keep in mind, when we talk about justice in this country, this is not people bringing up 100-year-old injustices. This is not people stretching all the way back to, the founding of the country to make this, to make this argument that the die or should I say the field has been set up in a way to favor, or I should say disfavor, their group. This is something that our structures in the United States have barely been deconstructed to do yet. Barely. Quite frankly, we're still not there, in my opinion. But anyway, acquitted, yeah. Millam, J.W. Millam, wait. Later, her husband, okay, right. Millam, who died in 1980, and Bryant, who died in 1994, admitted to the killing in a 1956 interview with Look magazine. In 2007, a Mississippi grand jury declined to indict Donham on any charges. Donham testified in 1955 that Emmett grabbed her hand and waist and positioned her, saying he had been with, quote, white women before. But years later, when Professor Timothy Tyson raised. Whoop, what is that? That's what happens when your mouse gets bumped. Hannah weighs. But years later, when Professor raised that trial testimony in 2008 interview with Dunham, he claims she told him that part's not true. The interview was included in Tyson's book, The Blood of Emmett Till. In a statement after Dunham's death, Tyson said, 68 years ago, there was the unspeakable murder of Emmett Till, a 14-year-old black boy from Chicago. It has comforted America to see that his story about monsters, her one of them. But the truth is what was unspeakable was the American social order that did nothing about Emmett Till or thousands more like him. And that's what we mean when we say structures. Keep in mind, like I said, the structure of the American legal system was perfectly, what's the word? Conciliatory towards this kind of stuff happening. Emmett Till was not the first. He was not the last. But certainly we need to look at this time in American history with a lot more scrutiny, I believe, especially in our schools, and in our individual communities. And this quite frankly is what, when people, last year brought up critical race theory, would complain about that, but not be able to define it. Whenever it would be time to restrict certain texts, restrict certain lessons, stuff like this is what we get erased from kids' history books. The DOJ, which had already re-examined, the prospect that the woman at the center of Emmett's case had recently recanted her testimony, which the U.S. Justice Department said in a memo would contradict statements she made during the state trial in 1955 and later to the FBI, prompted calls for authorities to reopen the investigation. The DOJ, which had already re-examined and closed the case in 2007, reopened the probe into Emmett's killing in 2018. But the case was closed in December 2021 after the DOJ's Civil Rights Division concluded it could not prove Dunham had lied. When questioned directly, Dunham adamantly denied to investigators that she had recanted her testimony. In August of 2022, a Leffler County, Mississippi grand jury declined to indict Dunham, deciding there was insufficient evidence to indict her on charges of kidnapping and manslaughter. According to a statement from District Attorney Dwayne Richardson, the grand jury heard the testimony from witnesses detailing the investigation of the case from 2004 to the present day and considered both charges, Richardson said. Quote, after hearing every aspect of the investigation and evidence collected regarding Dunham's involvement, the grand jury returned a, quote, no bill to the charges of both kidnapping and manslaughter, the statement said. The murder of Emmett Till remains an unforgettable tragedy in this country, and the thoughts and prayers of this nation continue to be with the family of Emmett Till. Oh, excuse me. I didn't protect you. I'm sorry. Okay. Don't want to load? That's cool. Do you want to load this time? Oh, is that not a thing anymore? Not a thing anymore. Oh, no, it is. I wanna know what. Do I have to go to CNN's YouTube channel or something? Well, that attempts to load. I'll go see if it's on their YouTube channel. Oh, lovely. Apparently, a train derailed in Mississippi. Great. Love that. You know, all it took was us asking private industry to do better.
The family of Emmett Till is calling for justice nearly 70 years after the murder of the 14-year-old helped spur the civil rights movement in this country. His family has recently discovered an unserved arrest warrant for his accuser, who is still alive today. Seen in Sarasota.
This was from 9 months ago, by the way.
What's the family now want from this?
Justice is the only word that they will use. And they say, look, we don't want revenge, but we want the wheels of justice to turn. It has taken them years to find this document that other investigators over all these 67 years never found. It is an incredible moment when you consider how long this has taken and how they found it.
I believe we were led by our angels, led by the spirit of Mamie Till Mobley and Emmett Till.
For 67 years, the family of Emmett Till say they have been seeking justice, not just for the 1955 murder of the 14-year-old black boy whose tortured and disfigured body helped spark the civil rights movement, but for what led up to that murder, his kidnapping. The family believes one suspect is a woman who is still alive.
I mean, we thought of things like citizen's arrest. I'm just going to tell you. We thought of things like, well, can we find the warrant and present it to her? If the authorities aren't going to do this, what can we do?
Till's cousins, Deborah and Terry Watts, decided to go searching for the warrant, one authorities over the decades never found in their investigations.
There were cobwebs across all of the boxes, dead bugs, dust. We had to get chairs to even search on different levels.
And this is, keep in mind, this is an old case, but this warrant existed, meaning that they just figured if they never find it, it'll never be a problem. This is the disregard that our legal system had for black people for a long time, and still has to this day in a lot of places in this country.
For the documents, we did have gloves and masks as well, but we were definitely determined to find it no matter what. We pushed through.
2 men were acquitted of Till's murder by an all-white jury, though they later admitted to the killing in an interview with Look magazine.
Naturally.
The case against Miss Roy Bryant, who now goes by Carolyn Bryant Dunham, was never tried. We reached out to Dunham and have not heard back.
We think this is evidence, this is new evidence that no one had ever searched for, and we were able to find it. It was unbelievable. It was overwhelming. We all cried. We were in also a state of shock, speechless in some instances.
Wow, the moment was very, very, very overwhelming. I had to look at the warrant several times just to make sure that it was real, that it actually read Mrs. Roy Bryant on it.
Though she was never arrested or tried, in 2007, after the Till case was reopened, Bryant's case was brought in front of a Mississippi grand jury. That grand jury did not indict her. A majority black grand jury did convene in Greenwood, Mississippi, and they declined to indict Carolyn Bryant Dunham. What do you make of that?
We're not sure why they declined to indict her, because there was enough evidence there to indict her. The investigation had been done.
The Watts say their whole lives they have lived with Mamie Till Mobley's haunting cries for justice and the images that horrified a nation of their cousin Emmett Till's body lying disfigured in an open casket. It was a scene his mother insisted showing the world to expose what racist hate truly looks like.
We did take the torch from Mamie. We ensured to her that we will continue the fight before she passed away. And so for me, I definitely want to see it through, but it has been a tremendous amount of trauma. I still feel like the weight is on.
You know, there will be people, and there are people I've heard. I think I had one of them on. He was on last week, and he talked a lot about crime and culture and the let's be honest here, the moral equivalence of black people to white people, and the I guess to him the oppression that white people suffer at the hands of supporting black people in this country. There's a lot of talk by people like that about the you know, the stress and the all the hardship that's put on white folks in this country. But I want everyone to recognize, and I want us to all understand that. And I'm gonna be a bit gruesome here for a moment. Sorry, everything just closed on my end. This happened to a 14-year-old. Let's keep that in mind. This happened to a 14-year-old for existing in the presence of white people in 1955. This is not 100 years ago. This is not 200 years ago. This is not 300 years ago. This isn't 400 years ago. This isn't 5. This is, what is that? We're sitting in 2023 now. We're looking at less than 70 years, I believe. And when we talk about the consequences of the structures in the United States that bear down on black people, this is the consequence. This right here. Because when this 14-year-old gets brutally murdered, the same way we see, the same way we saw, what was the Zimmerman kid? I can't even remember their names for a lot of times. It escapes me because there's been so many. Was it Trayvon Martin? Yeah. The same way this happened to Trayvon Martin back in the 2000s. Same way this happened to that one guy who, I think it was in Georgia, I want to say, running through a neighborhood, shot down by two good old boys in their pickup trucks. This is something that black people in the United States have been living with overtly for what? Probably about 200-300 years since the founding of this country, and covertly by organizations, by terrorist organizations like the Ku Klux Klan in the South, racist police unions, racist police precincts, I should say. These are the consequences that they live with for being black in America, quite frankly. These are the consequences. And we've never reckoned with this. I don't think we have. We've come close. Certainly there's been progress. But has this country ever truly addressed this kind of violence? Do we talk about it openly? Do we embrace conversation? We don't. We yell and we argue. There are people who try to study the history. And then there are those who grew up with family members who have extended family members, who have grandparents, great-grandparents, great aunts, great uncles that participated in this and participated and defended the subjugation of black people based on just the fact that they were black in this country. And for that, they get really emotionally defensive. And if you ask me, the group of people that I care about in terms of how they're feeling about the state of things, it's not the people who get hurt feelings over the fact that this is the history that black people live through. I don't care. I don't care if your grandparents were in the Confederacy defending your farm. I don't care if you thought it was a state right. I don't care at all. It's not of interest to me. You can eat shit, as far as I'm concerned. And you can lose like you've been losing ever since the Civil War. Unfortunately, we never finished Reconstruction. And I didn't really expect to spend as much time on this. I didn't really expect to talk very much on this specific segment, but this is what I'm going to leave everybody with today. So, yeah. Short stream today, I know, and midday one when I said it'd be a night one, but yeah, as is life, things have to move around. Either way, if you learned anything, if you enjoyed anything, if you all the stuff I usually say, follow the stream on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. Don't be a dumb fuck like Vampire Hunter D was earlier. See you guys next week. There's gonna be probably a bunch of videos going up because I got a backlog that I got to work through. But yeah. Anyway, have a nice day, y'all.